6573.
Renee, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, baby. Let's go.
Why? Come on. Come on, why is this not working?
It's working, Joey. What up, everybody?
What?
Damn it, Jim!
What up, y'all? Getting ready to kick off tonight's show. Thank you for joining us. Much love and respect to everybody. It's forthcoming 4th of July weekend. It's going to be a good one.
Unmuted.
Let's go ahead and try that again, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you what, I have not been this excited for an episode for a very long time. I'm so excited, as a matter of fact, that I'm going to hit that intro just one more time.
Everybody's got a price. Everybody's gonna pay. Everybody, it's Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and you're listening to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. It's out in the night out. You're tuning in to Wrestle Talk. 657-383-1521. We'll be discussing WWE, NXT, Lucha Underground, ROH, fantasy wrestling, and we have some of the best damn interviews for professional and independent wrestling that you've ever heard.
And I'm Joe Lamb. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle your seatbelts, keep your arms in the vehicle at all times. Wrestle Talk begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enjoy the ride.
Que pasa, loyal members of the Wrestle Talk family. It is your boy, the Night Owl, along with Nightmare Jones, checking in for episode 304 of the Wrestle Talk podcast. Guys, it's going to be a fantastic episode. It's going to be so nice, we had to play the intro twice. Jonesy, I know we were having some audio issues a little bit earlier. Are you with me, sir? Are you with me, Jonesy? Jonesy, can you hear me, buddy? Jonesy! Oh, dear goodness, ladies and germs. Well, we're going to work on getting Nightmare Jones up and running, but we have no time to waste. None. Zero. Because we've got a tremendous amount of ground to cover during tonight's show. Unfortunately, though, we're going to start off on a little bit of a somber note. Because today we've lost one of our own, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk quite a bit about this individual. But I will tell you this. There are a lot of people hurting right now because of the loss of this individual. I mean, there are some very well-known guys that aren't as highly respected as this gentleman. I believe, if my facts are right, he came into this world in 1947 and has trained many people under his hat. And so we're going to give him his just due. If I can find that, if I can find that drop, that's always going to be fun, right? If I can find that drop, we're going to give much due respect to Killer Tim Brooks. If everybody could please join me in removing their caps as we ring the honorary 10-bell salute to a respected professional wrestler and trainer. Both of our guests during tonight's show actually have experience with him. They've worked with him. And fact of the matter is, guys, whether you're a WWE Hall of Famer, an Indie Hall of Famer, here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, we're going to pay our respects. So again, guys, everybody, please remove your cap as we hit the honorary 10-bell salute. So, Jonesy, I know you're back with me, bro. I'm glad to have you. We're going to have a great show, I promise. But before we move any further, allow me to just read this introduction here. Birth name, Timothy Paul Brooks, born December 4th, 1949. Laid to rest, passed away June 30th, 2020. And he was known in the ring as Tim Brooks and as Killer Brooks. He measured in at 6'2", 254 pounds, billed from the beautiful city of Dallas, Texas, and was trained by, listen to these names, Joey, Dick Murdoch and the Sheik. He debuted in 1969 and retired from in-ring competition in 1997. We all know him. Back in 88, that angle in WWF, that whole deal with Hogan, Andre, Ted DiBiase over the WWE Championship. As we all know, in 1983, he had sold his NWA National Heavyweight Championship to Larry Zbyszko sometime after beating Paul Orndorff. A couple of those names you'll recognize as former guests of the Wrestle Talk podcast. So we're going to talk about Tim. We're going to celebrate his life and mourn his death at the same time because, like I said, Joey, we got a couple of guests who are very familiar with him, and I'm sure we're going to get some great stories, bro. Are you finally with us, man? Is everything cool?
I'm here. I'm ready to go. We can blow talk and there's audio issues and whatnot. I'm tired of it, man.
Sick and tired of it. All right, well, at the same time, as we celebrate the life of Killer Tim Brooks, who is now no longer with us, we also have a birthday. Enter Timmy. You got anything festive you could play as we celebrate the 40-plus year career? This man is celebrating a birthday today, ladies and germs. Let's go ahead and play a little bit of music for the hardcore legend, Terry Funk Jr. Oh yeah, Jonesy. I know we gotta hit the Mexican yell and all that stuff and get into high spots, but just real quick, man, what a tough day for the world of professional wrestling and losing Killer Tim Brooks. But at the same time, there's cause for celebration because he had a wonderful career. a very fruitful life from what I understand, and we're celebrating Terry Funk, man. How are you dealing with this collection, this mixed bag of emotions, Jonesy? I got to know how you feel about all this.
Yeah, it definitely stinks that Tim passed away, but he had a great wrestling career, and I know that he wouldn't have done anything different. And then to be able to celebrate Terry Funk's birthday as well is, so it's somber, but it's sweet at the same time. If that makes any sense.
Dude, it does make a lot of sense. And you know what else makes a lot of sense? That you guys join us on tonight's episode. Man, we're talking about everything. We're talking about WWE and their handling of COVID-19 testing. We're talking about Tessa Blanchard's expected release from Impact Wrestling. We're going to talk a little Monday Night Raw. We're going to talk a little AEW. Cody Rhodes celebrated a birthday today as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, man, we've got a lot to cover in the world of pro wrestling. But you know what? Because of the audio issues, there was something we were not able to do when you introduced yours truly. So let me just summarize how I feel about episode 304 of the Wrestle Talk podcast. Man, oh man, I love that drop. And you know what else, Jonesy? We are just mere days away from the celebration of the greatest country on God's green earth. And it would be almost disrespectful if we didn't hear from Carl Lewis as we get in to this week's edition of the Wrestle Talk podcast. Intern Timmy, you know what to do. Hit me with that Carl Lewis as we all remove our caps once again and pay homage to America, damn it.
Say, can you see? And the rocket.
Regular.
Uh-oh. I'll make up for it now. For the land of the free.
There's a tear to my eye every single time. Enter Timmy, hit that music for the hot spot segment.
Earth rings. We have
Come
now
on.
taken over your radio.
Cut that! Yeah! Nice save, Timmy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have got so much to talk about, and I think that it's only fair that the one thing that we wanted to talk about was Tessa Blanchard's unexpected release from Impact Wrestling. Now, if you've been living under a rock, then you don't know that Tessa Blanchard has been released from Impact Wrestling and has been stripped of the Impact Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. And all this started when the COVID-19 hit, and her and Drago moved to Mexico, and because they moved to Mexico, there was a bunch of issues with her, coming back and forth because of the COVID-19 issues, and they had wanted her to drop the title before she left, but they couldn't come up with a agreement, so they went ahead and they let her take the title to Mexico, with the agreement that she was going to be sending in promos that they could use, during Impact Wrestling, and then she was going to come back at Slammiversary and drop the title at Slammiversary. Well, the problem is Tessa Blanchard didn't fulfill her obligations, and she didn't send any promos or anything. She hasn't been seen since the start of the coronavirus issue. So Impact Wrestling had no issue, had no problem, had no other choice, I should say, but to strip her from the title and also remove her from the roster of Impact Wrestling Championship. Now, of course, it's been the first time that Tessa Blanchard has come under fire. There's been multiple times, it's been said that, when she was going into these meetings, she was very, very unprofessional, and they think that it was because her contract was about to expire and she wanted more money. So she was thinking that maybe if she did all of this, that they would have no choice but to give her more money, and that is obviously not the case. And, that's not all of Impact Wrestling's issues right now, because she was supposed to be in this match with not the Velveteen Dream, with Moose and Ace Austin and Michael Elgin. And as we now know, Michael Elgin has been removed from Impact Wrestling as well. So it's going from a 4-way to now a 2-way. But no, I think Eddie Edwards was in that match too. So Impact Wrestling is just, it's all over the place. We don't know what the heck's going on. Crazy.
It is crazy indeed, Nightmare Jones. And what would be even crazier if I didn't take just a quick moment to thank all of our amazing sponsors, starting with I-70 Sports Media. Our buddy Jeremy Karp may be guest hosting next week. We'll let you guys know for sure in a couple of days. But man, if you love Missouri and Missouri sports on both sides of the state, make sure you give those guys a follow over at I-70 Sports Media on Facebook. Tell them the Wrestle Talk podcast sent you. Secondly, you're probably wondering where I got this beautiful mug with the hand engraved logo and my name. Guys, Wrath Bun Engraving. Many people currently watching the show can testify that your beverage is guaranteed to taste 17.5% better if you drink it out of a Wrestle Talk podcast mug. Period, point blank. We've done all the hard work for you. We've done all the scientific analysis. And facts are facts. So, if you want a piece of wrestling memorabilia and you want to support local, hit us up over at WrestleTalkPodcast.com and start customizing your mug today. And of course, bro, the breaking news. Esports Bar Casey is opening up tomorrow, baby! And you know what that means?
Right.
The probability.
That means you'll know.
That's right. That's right. The probability of us having a SummerSlam watch party has just gone up significantly. So, brother, what do you want me to say? We've got some amazing sponsors. The future is bright. Still want to encourage everybody to wear a mask, social distance, listen to your local authorities. You're not smarter than the people that are paid to do this stuff. Okay? So for everybody else's sake, stop being an asshole and wear a mask. Okay? And last and most definitely not least, big shout outs to a couple of sister podcasts, our boys over at Talking Dynasty, what I happen to believe is the best sports podcast in Kansas City. Talking Dynasty, hosted by our boy Adam Frex, man. All things sports, particularly football. Which, my oh my, when will football be back? It feels like forever. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, Joe, they can cancel the season because that means the Chiefs remain champions. So, you know what? We should just discontinue football, period. Just let it end here. No one's ever going to beat Patrick Mahomes. We can just stop playing football now. Do you agree or you disagree?
I would have to disagree.
What?
I do like watching. I do like watching my football, and I want to see how the Patriots' new quarterback is going to do. But why are we talking?
Okay, never mind. Sorry. Well, listen, if you guys want to hear more about football and things of that sort, go and check out Talking Dynasty. Tell them the Wrestle Talk podcast sent you. And last and of course not least, I know I already said that, okay? Don't mock me, okay? Well, what up? Voorhees is in the house. Shout out to Cody, King of Bleach Styles here. I'm going to shout all you guys out here in a second. Bro, how could I give love and not give love to one of our original sponsors, the Conspiracy Farm, with my brother, Jay Hollywood, and the UFC Hall of Famer Pat Milicic. In case you guys have not been paying attention, and why wouldn't you be paying attention? Of course you're paying attention. But for those of you who aren't, our boys are about to get a show on Dish Network. That's right, The Conspiracy Farm with Jay Hollywood and Pat Milicic. Great show. Make sure you tell them the Wrestle Talk podcast. And you get the theme here, Jonesy. We put people over, then you go over there and you show them some love, and then they go, hey man, how did you hear about us? And you go, hey, the guys over at Wrestle Talk, they took care of me. They got me my mug, they got me some great pro wrestling talk, and they sent me over here to your podcast, man. That's what we do around here. From West Virginia to San Francisco, baby. That's how we get down on the Wrestle Talk podcast. All right, I'm done with the plugs, so let's go ahead and continue with tonight's hot spots, because we're about 10 minutes away from JD Griffey, guys. It's going to be a great interview, so make sure you keep it locked in and make sure you share this broadcast. Right, Joey?
Absolutely, 100%. So now you know my thoughts about the whole Tessa Blanchard thing. What are your thoughts, Renee?
Oh, you want to ask me? Okay, so this is going to be my most anticlimactic answer ever, okay? And here it is. This is what the gossip sites won't tell you, friends. Tessa Blanchard's contract expires today. So whether she got fired a couple of days ago or her contract wasn't renewed, she's gone. And guess what? Her mark on TNA, Impact, whatever you want to call the promotion, is undeniable. They made such a big deal about her becoming the first women's champion, or the first woman to ever hold their main championship. And you know what they did, Jonesy? They let it all go down the drain, and they would love for you and me to believe that she is the problem. Well, maybe she is, maybe she isn't. What I can tell you, Joey, is that neither one of these two entities, Tessa Blanchard, the performer, or Impact, have a great track record. They continue to screw the pooch. In one way or another, they can't seem to stay out of their own way. So personally speaking, it's anticlimactic because her contract was up anyway. It wouldn't have been as interesting a story if they just simply would not have renewed her contract, right? So how do they make a story out of it? They let her go 2-3 days before her contract is up. As far as I'm concerned, it's kind of a non-story. What is a story, though, is who will have the cojones, the balls, the huevos to pick up Tessa Blanchard. And what does this say about Impact Wrestling? I mean, is it just me, or can they just not handle top flight talent? You brought it up yourself. Michael Elgin, top flight talent. Tessa Blanchard, top flight talent. Why do these people not stick around? I don't understand it, Jonesy. I don't watch Impact very much, but I'm sure a lot of you guys do. So dial that number, 657-383-1521, and dial that number, because you know what? If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it probably is a duck. And I hate to say it, because here we're all about building things up, right? We like to build up, pro wrestling on a local level. We like to build up pro wrestling on the highest level. We like to say good things. But both of these two, both Impact and Tessa, have reputations. And that's not the end of the story, because a reputation is more or less hearsay. But again, walks, quacks, probably a duck. I'm just saying, I'd love to see both of them be successful, but I can tell you one thing for sure, Jonesy, it sure as hell, it ain't going to be together. And that's all I got to say about that. But again, guys, high spots, join us. Anything you want to talk about pertaining to the world of pro wrestling, real simple, 657-383-1521. What do we got up next, bro?
There's so much that we could talk about, and I guess that the one thing that we want to talk about is Monday Night Raw, and how you've got Dominique and Rey Mysterio, this whole thing with Seth Rollins and Austin Austin Theory
All right.
and Andrade. They're fighting and stuff. And I just want to know what you thought about Monday Night Raw last night, and how they're building up the whole Drew Galloway against Dolph Ziggler.
No! Did you just ask me about that, bro?
What? What do you mean no?
Oh,
Go!
oh, okay, listen, man. I have like a personal thing pertaining to this situation, and I'm going to try to keep it brief. I see a couple of callers here. We're going to try to get you guys on, so hang in there. And we actually might have room for one more caller. So again, dial that number. Let's talk some wrestling, guys. Don't be scared. 657-383-1521. Bro, listen. You want to talk about anticlimactic? Dolph freaking Ziggler. Listen, here's what I mean about it being a little personal. I love Dolph Ziggler. Even though he is a great value version of Shawn Michaels. And even Shawn Michaels has said it. Okay? Just like R-Truth is the damn, he's the thrift store version of Booker T. I mean, I hate to say it. People think it's a little mean, I know. But I mean, he does all the Booker T's moves. He does the head scissor thing, and then he does the spinneroonie kinda. So what I'm saying is, I always wanted Dolph Ziggler to be a top guy. Those days have come and gone, and he is not a credible challenger for the championship. He's just not. Jonesy, I criticized just last week the whole Braun Strowman situation and how they had him dicking around with Miz and Morrison in a storyline that was clearly headed nowhere. Drew Galloway, just came off of a title defense against who, Jonesy? Who did he just recently defend the title against?
Bobby Lashley.
See how you had to hesitate? You see how you weren't sure? Bro, they have yet to put a challenger in front of him that is credible. Nobody thought that he was going to lose to Bobby Lashley. Anybody watching us live right now or on the replay believe that Dolph Ziggler is going to beat the champ? No, it's not credible. Stop making us waste our time. The match will be fun, but we all know that at the end, the champ will retain. I get it. If you want to do like worthy competitor filler, I get it. Just like they do for TV shows, right? They give you some fillers so you can stay locked in and they can stretch it out a little bit. But don't give me 2 fillers back to back. Dude, nobody in their right mind believes that Dolph Ziggler's going to win the championship. It's a waste of time. Now, with Braun Strowman, they gave him Bray again. That looks like it could be interesting, even though it's kind of a retread, because it's a little bit different, okay? But the fact of the matter is this, Jonesy, it's not believable, and for that reason, it does not sustain my interest. And it's unfortunate, because I want to watch what they're putting out there. I want to be engaged. I want to be a part of the WWE Universe, but they're making it very difficult for me by putting their top champions against people that are not worthy. It's very frustrating. Now, do I like the shoot element? Yeah. Yeah, I like the shoot element. They're bringing a little bit more realism into it, but we both know how this game's going to end, don't we? Let's just be real. We all know how it's going to end, and for that reason, I repeat, it is anticlimactic.
I can agree. I can totally agree. All right, one last topic, and then we're going to get into JD Griffey. So this is my topic. Everybody knows that AEW for the next 2 shows is doing their Fyter Fest on Dynamite. Dynamite is basically their Fyter Fest for the next two shows. So it's like a big thing. You're going to see the Women's Championship is going to be on the line. John Moxley's going to be facing I can't remember the guy's name that he's facing. So it's going to be a big freaking thing. And what does NXT do? The same time that they're doing Fyter Fest, NXT is putting on what? the Great American Bash. I think that it is absolutely awesome that the WWE said, you know what, you all want to put on Fyter Fest? We're going to put on a big show ourselves, but not only are we going to put on a big show ourselves, but we're going to take that knife and we're going to dig it into the gut of Cody Rhodes a little bit by naming it the Great American Bash, which was something that was made by who? Cody Rhodes' dad, Dusty Rhodes. I think it's awesome.
Well, I'll tell you what, bro. I think, and Matt, I'm going to sound very negative during this show, and I hate doing that. But you know what, bro? I could not disagree with you more, Jonesy. I could not. You know why? You know why? Because they are wasting a golden opportunity to revive one of the best pay-per-views in wrestling history. A lot of people have fond memories of the Great American Bash, and there's a couple of reasons to maybe not have so many fond memories, because we know some shenanigans have gone on in the past at Great American Bash. Nevertheless, they are memorable. Here's what I mean by the fact that they're wasting it. They could revive this pay-per-view and make it its own thing. People would flock to see an In Your House on a Saturday or Sunday. People would flock to see a Great American Bash on a Saturday or Sunday. But because they're playing this game of who can out petty who, Jonesy, they're wasting it on a Wednesday.
I don't think, I'm going to stop you there for a second, because I don't think that it's about being petty. I think it's about being a business. They know that everybody is going to be wanting to tune in to AEW, because AEW has been promoting this Fyter Fest for quite some time now. So the WWE as a company, and we seem to forget that at times, that the WWE is still a company. And so they have to do whatever that they have to do to make sure that people still want to tune in. And how do they do that? By naming one of the NXT shows the Great American Bash. Why? Because it's gotten everybody's attention.
But, bro, it's petty. Bro, the main event is Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks. It's another match that we know that Sasha Banks is not winning the NXT Women's Championship. It's not going to... I get what you're saying, Joe. I get the business aspect of it, and that's where I'm approaching it from. I think it's a bad business decision. And I can't wait till JD Griffey joins us, because I want to get his thoughts on this. But before we get to him, we do have one caller we're going to bring on very quickly. And KOB, you can join us again for the FWWC. But I want to get your thoughts. We're talking about Tessa and Impact. We're talking about Raw and how they're handling Drew McIntyre, right? And then, oh, by the way, we kept calling him Drew Galloway, which I thought was hilarious, and I just caught that. We keep calling him Drew Galloway. And then, of course, our most recent topic, do you think that the Great American Bash versus Fyter Fest is a good idea, or do you think that WWE is just being petty? You can try to tackle all of those if you're really feeling hyped tonight, Cody. Or you can just hit on one of those topics. Or you know what? Here's what's great about High Spots. Bro, you can even bring your own topic to the table. That's how we get down here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast, episode 304. So what's up, KOB? What you got for your boys tonight?
All right. So the KOB or Cody has something on his mind. It is what you guys just said.
Yeah.
That Tessa Blanchard just... What you said prior was kind of like what I thought about. I saw that her contract just expired today, so I feel like it's just timing, honestly. Nobody wants to work with Tessa, and same with Michael Elgin. Honestly, I was seeing some stuff on Facebook. I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was saying that Michael is just like a really hard person to work with, and a lot of people don't want to work with him. But then I'll move on here real quick to the what was the second topic you just said? I forgot. It was It was the Tessa.
Now they are using Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, not Drew Galloway.
Yeah, Galloway's his real name. That's kind of cool. The way they're using him, honestly, in my opinion, it just they're trying to build him up as this dominant face, but like, and having him squash Lashley, who is honestly, in my opinion, I felt like Lashley was the only like actual thing I was like, kind of wondering. I was like, whoa, Lashley could beat McIntyre, and everyone was saying, oh, he won't. But I'm like, well, I don't think they would like, beat him that quick and easy just because he just won the title at Mania. But I don't feel like they would I don't think they would have him beat him. But it was worrying because he was beating the crap out of him. You put him in that full Nelson. He brought back the Master Lock. Look at that. But he was beating him with the Master Locker and the full Nelson, and he was the only credible thing. But yeah, Dolph Ziggler, he's not going to beat him. There's no way. He's not credible, or not credible. He's not credible as a challenger.
All right. Well, then let me ask you this follow-up, Cody. Let me ask you this follow-up question so that we can get to our first featured guest of the evening, JD Griffey. We got a lot of great stuff to talk to about him. So then let's go ahead and summarize it. Does these predictable opponents... Now, I know you said that you were one of the few people that thought Lashley could actually win. Congratulations, you're 1 out of 1,000,000. But does a rivalry like the one with Dolph Ziggler, does that cause you to lose interest? Like, does that
a little bit.
Does that put you in a position where you're like, I already kind of know how this is going to play out, blah, 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 I'd rather go watch something else because I already know Drew's keeping it? Like, does it put you in that predicament, or are you still able to enjoy it even though you can kind of anticipate the outcome?
Well, I don't have cable, so I have to watch replays. So I kind of, I'm still interested in it, and I'm still interested in watching all the product. But without having cable, it is kind of tough. So I kind of just say, unless I'm like really intrigued, I'll go over to someone's house and watch it on their cable. But most products, at least WWE, it's kind of predictable almost. With AEW, in my opinion, it's not predictable just because they're a completely different product. But even though I wanted to watch it so much when they first came out, it's hard to get into it because it's a completely different change of style as in what you're used to with WWE.
It is. Right? We keep hearing that. Well, Cody, unfortunately, man, we're going to have to drop you right there, bro, because we do have to move on to our first featured guest. But listen, we'll be back in about 35, 40 minutes with the world's premier fantasy wrestling segment, the FWWC segment, man. So hopefully you'll hang out and join us for that as well.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, Jonesy, man, we're 8 minutes over time, and I know JD's a man who values his time. So why don't you do us the honor of introducing our first featured guest of the evening?
All right. This gentleman has been wrestling everywhere. I mean, I'm talking about, you've seen him wrestle, 236 total matches in his entire career. 236 matches in his entire career. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this gentleman. I mean, there is only one reason that he has the nickname of Flawless. And what is that? The reason that he has that nickname is because JD Griffey is 100% flawless. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor to bring in the one and only JD Griffey.
Oh, let that play, baby. Let it play. Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. That goes so hard. What up, JD?
What's going on? What's good? Man, hey, man, y'all wasted my time, man. What's good? Y'all 8 minutes over, man. Y'all said 7:30. I I'm in the middle of a training session. I took time out of jiu-jitsu to come on and do this thing, and y'all on here playing games, man. What's good?
We are on here. Damn it! It's true, JD. It's true. We're on here playing games, but you know what? At the same time,
playing games, man.
Well, listen. At the same time, you know, the most important commodity in the world of professional wrestling is the fans. So when we get a caller, when we get a fan, when we get a fan on that's been waiting since the beginning of the show, man, we gotta squeeze them in, man. It's all about the Wrestle Talk fam.
I understand, man. I understand. That's what I heard about y'all, man. I heard that y'all be about the fans. So I'm gonna let it slide this time. That you only get one. You feel me?
You got it. You got it. Listen, we'll make up for it. We'll make up for it. We promise. We promise. All right. Just bear with us. We'll make up for it. Let me go ahead and kick this one off, Jonesy. And I hate to start on a somber mood because I hear that typically you're a pretty positive, outgoing guy. You're really enthused about what you do in life, especially in the professional wrestling world because you've been very successful at it. But at the beginning of the show, man, we had to kind of start off in a difficult fashion because of a loss. We hit the 10-bell salute.
For sure.
And as you know, we lost a legend today.
I appreciate that.
And no doubt.
Yeah, a trainer.
Absolutely, and we're going to get into that. We lost a legend today, and not many people, I say some people, maybe not all the people are familiar with Killer Tim Brooks, but you, sir, are particularly familiar and have been intimate as a student-trainer relationship with the late, great Tim Brooks, man. Can we just go ahead and get that out of the way? Talk to us about your experiences, man, and how hard today has been for you, sir.
Yeah, man, it was... I mean, y'all started off heavy, man. Yeah, it's been one of those days. I will say, one day, that day comes for all of us. You know, his race ended today, but he ran a good one. He ran a strong one. I couldn't be more proud of him. Keith and I, as you know, trained with Keith Lee, who is now the NXT North American champion. A few days ago, we were actually with him, visiting him in his home. He did hospice care at his home, and we got to sit up with him and, talk about, what he expected of us. And it was super somber, but it was a beautiful thing. He was, still same old killer. It was tough to see. But he was a warrior up until the end, truly a legend in his business. He came from an era where, they were working 4 or 5 nights a week, gone, you know what I'm saying, all the time. And for him to still be a family man, through all of that, and build a family and build a school after that, and, put together some top-tier talent and still keep that relationship with us, even though, Keith's on NXT. I was in CMLL in Mexico. We're still talking to him on the phone, and he's still telling us, you sacrifice that story because y'all can do some cool moves. I'll kick your ass. I'm old, but I'll still do it. And it was just one of those things. Once we got back in the States, once I got back in the States, I had heard he had taken a turn for the worse, so I was trying to visit him as much as I could with Johnny Mantell and the Downs family who run the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Texas. I was being able to get there and see him as much as possible. They said that he didn't have much time left a few weeks ago. Keith was trying to get some time off to get down to see Coach, and Triple H, trying to make it work, and shout out to WWE for moving the schedule around so Keith could get away to see Coach, and he still held on to see Keith one more time, and we sat down and we talked and we helped him design a new building because he was still trying to work.
Wow.
He was still trying to work, so it was tough, but it was killer being killer, still ready to work, show goes on, as he says. So, again, I'm here at the training facility right now. Every part of me wanted to stay home. Even you guys were very gracious, hey, if we need to reschedule, it's cool. I appreciate you guys, being supportive. But I already know Killer, job's got to get done, and that was him until his last moments. Nobody's bigger than the show. And so it's a tough day, but we got to press forward, and that's what he made us to do. That's how he created us, and so that's what we're going to do. So I'm here, and I'm ready to talk wrestling, and I'm ready to honor all the time that he invested in us. You know, it's just it's just tough, but you know we got to do it. You know,
no doubt, no doubt, man. We appreciate the honesty and the sincerity. And you know what? We care. We really do, which is why we always try to extend that courtesy when we know somebody's going through a difficult time. So with that said, man, much love and respect. For those of you who didn't hear it earlier on in the show, we did hit that 10-bell salute for Killer Tim Brooks. If you guys don't know about this guy, make sure you do your research. He's not only a Texas legend, he's a professional wrestling legend.
He's a legend.
Yeah,
he's a legend.
Guys need to do their research from selling the title to Paul Orndorff. Or Larry Sabisco. I'm not gonna spoil. I'm gonna let you guys go look at YouTube and figure out who this guy was.
Don't do their homework for him.
Yeah, you got it, bro. You got it. Well, you know what?
Educate yourselves. You know what I mean?
Indeed. And there's never been a better time for people to educate themselves than right now, when the information is at the edge of our fingertips, right, JD?
There's no excuse for it, man. There's no excuse for it, you know?
No question. Well, let me move on from that to something else. And for anybody who's ever heard the show, we don't shy away from the difficult questions here. That's why we get the best guests. So let me move on from a sensitive subject to another one, and we're going to talk a little bit about race. Ooh, I can hear everybody cringing right now. Okay. Oh, not race. Don't bring it up, Night Out. All right, Listen, trust me. By the time I'm done, you guys are going to understand. And here's what I mean. You talk about yourself. You talk about Keith Lee. You talk about ACH. Okay? Shout out to Rudy Gonzalez, too, who's a big supporter of the show. I got to know, what are you guys putting in the water in Texas, man? It's like all my brothers that got skill on some level or another are coming out of Texas. What the hell are y'all putting down in the water over there, bro?
Hey, man, you forgot about Shane Taylor, too, man. Don't forget our boy Shane Taylor.
Oh, my bad. Hey, you know what? Shane Taylor, hold on, time out. Shane Taylor came on the show when he was the ROH, I think that's the middle champ. Forgive me for not remembering the name of the title.
Yeah, the television title.
The TV title. And then him and Rev Ron Hunt, they're regular listeners and supporters of the show. So, yeah, no doubt. Shout out to my man Shane Taylor. People are sleeping on Shane Taylor. This dude's got moves like you've never seen before.
When Shane was on this show, he shout me out, you know, so, and then you're going to forget him? Like, I can't do that.
Well, hold on, man. It's a long list, bro. It's a long list.
That's my name.
It's a long list.
Oh, yeah. We out here pumping out talent, man. We pumping out some serious talent out here.
What is it about Texas, though, bro? Where's all this coming from?
Oh, man, look. The thing is like, that's the crazy thing. It's like, I feel like a lot of us have been, you know, like, you know, getting it done, you know, like even one of my childhood friends, Adrian, Ember Moon, she's injured right now. But, you know, she trained with us, too. You know what I'm saying? So, because we were doing two schools, you know, a lot of us were two schooling, you know, we were training killers on Saturday and Sunday, and we were at Skandar Akbar, another legend, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you know, so like, man, we were training every day, man. It was real out here.
Well, let me ask you about that though, JD, because just from my experience in the business, which is not a lot, okay, just a couple of years as a commentator and a ring announcer, and a long time as a fan,
right on.
Like, I've seen promotions get a little salty about, if you're training with me, you can't be training over there. I mean, like, you didn't run into any of that yourself?
Well, at least not between Ack and Killer. Like, they worked together a lot, you know, back in the 80s and the 90s, you know. And, you know, I had some seasoning from Cowboy Johnny Manziel as well. Killer was always like, learn as much as you can, you know, learn as much as you can. He's like, you know, I don't know everything, but I'll teach you what I know, you know. He was just always like, don't waste it. You know, that was the thing, like, us that came through in that class, it was like, don't waste it. And I think that was important for us not to waste our opportunities. I'm not saying we didn't do our share of wasting opportunities,
right.
But, you know, for the most part, it was like, you know, don't waste your opportunities. And when you grow with the talent that we grew with, and then even the talent that came before us, because when we came in, guys like Tim Storm, who, you know, was just, you know, the NWA World Champion, you know, he's still on NWA right now. he was, you know, taking us under his wing when we first got in as well. Guys like Tim Storm. Guys like Action Jackson, who, you know, worked in Global and AWA and things of that nature. Just different guys. James Beard, who was, you know, another Hall of Fame referee who, like, took us under his wing. Like, we talk to these people on a daily basis, you know what I mean? And they really helped keep us in line. And everybody knew each other. All the trainers and all these guys worked together, so they all knew, like, you know, these are his kids, this guy's kids, you know. And the village basically raised us all, you know what I mean? It was very much a collective effort. It's too much hate going on in wrestling now.
For real,
bro. Like that, you know. In 2007, 2008, wasn't none of that hate and stuff, you know. So, but yeah, man, like it's we've had a lot of talent like grow in the area, and it's weird. Like about 8-9 years in, I debuted at Beyond Wrestling up in the Northeast, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, this guy's amazing. Where have you been hiding?" And I was like, "What you mean hiding, bro? You know, like, I did it, you know." And that was Keith's last match before, you know, he ended up on NXT, and you know, he was on his way out, I was on my way in, and that just kind of turned me into, you know, like a national, you know, talent. Guys like Sammy Callahan took me under his wing, you know, who was another guy who was just an amazingly talented guy, and just a genius in wrestling. And so the thing is like at all levels, like even the trainers, the old school guys, the trainers, the guys that came in right before us, the guys, we learned a lot from each other too, you know, just growing together. So like it was just a good environment to grow in. Texas is just really a good environment to grow in. The only knock is some of us get so comfortable in such a nurturing environment, some of us never leave it, you know? And so there's a lot of talent that came from Texas that you probably never even heard of, you know what I'm saying? And so the tough part is like, all right, come on, let's get to California, let's get to Japan, let's get to England, let's get to Mexico, let's get to, you know? So I think to answer your question, you would think there was some flack, but it wasn't. It was everybody learn where you can, grow together, and put on the show. And when they ask where you come from, you better let them know, you know. And so here we are.
Gotta represent. Gotta represent. Well, I'm gonna shoot over my last question before I throw it over to my partner in crime, Nightmare Jones, and I think you'll appreciate this two-parter. Number one, I heard you earlier mention that you spent some time in Mexico over at CMLL. Can you talk to us about that experience, man? Did you enjoy it? How did you deal with the language, and how was the wrestling?
Let me just start by saying these people are real in Mexico, okay? These luchadors, they are real. They are not playing. It is not a game. They exist, okay? They are not. It is not a game for them. These guys are starting at 7 years old. You know what I mean? 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. And just beast, bro. Freaking beast, man. It was amazing. There was obviously a language barrier for a little bit. It was, at first it was different because, like, the elevation, like, just getting off the plane and trying to take a deep breath was very, very, like, and just unnerving. Like, I'd never, like, it wasn't like Colorado. Like, you get off plane in Denver, it's like, you take a deep breath and it's kind of like, it's uncomfortable. But, like, in Mexico, it was something else. I was like, oh my God, I can't breathe. And we all got off the plane and we went straight to the Arena Mexico and trained, like, an hour later. Like, we got off
they
the
don't
plane,
play.
Jumped on the shuttle and went straight to training. Like, we came in, signed all the paperwork, and went straight to training, you know. And it was just jarring. Like, some of these guys are in their 40s and 50s training every day. We train twice a day. We have 4 shows a week. The first tour was 3 weeks, you know. Twice a day training, show in the evening, 4 days a week. Our days off, we went to the pyramids and there was a birthday party. You know, we only had 2 days off and we were still ripping and running. So you would train and then you'd go do, like, you know, media or green screen or to a radio station or whatever. You get back and you train. And if you're on the show, you got like a little light training, and then you wrestled at the Arena Mexico, and then, you know, head back to your room and get some sleep. And we'll see you in the morning. We'll see you at 9 a.m. You know, so,
Full-time job, baby.
These guys are beasts, man. These guys are beasts, man. And everybody was super talented. Everybody's super patient with us because lucha style is completely different. and everybody's super patient. Olympico and like Ultimo Guerrero and Nitro, Kalistico, Mystico, Mystico was Sin Cara. Like these guys were just super patient and they worked with us, and it was a beautiful thing, man. And I love the Mexican culture, and they brought us in, they treated us like family. It was difficult, but the thing was is once we hit a wall, you hit a wall every day. That's what I loved about it.
Right.
Is you hit a wall every day, and they kind of want to see it like, are you just gonna stop? Or are you gonna break through that wall? Then once they see you'll break through that wall, they'll pull you the rest of the way, man. And it was a beautiful thing. I hated leaving Mexico. I'm ready to go back as soon as this virus stuff is over with.
Right. Well, we're glad.
We're
glad you're back.
They're different, man. They're different.
Yeah, we're
absolutely.
We're glad you made it back safe. And being a man that was born in Mexico, now I'm a proud Mexican American. I can tell you, Mexico's a great place, but it's all just like the U.S. It's got its potholes. I'm just glad you didn't get stuck in one. If you feel what I'm saying.
It's grimy. It's grimy.
Yeah,
I wasn't gonna say all that. I mean, but you said it's a little grimy. But a lot of those guys stayed with us at all times.
Right.
So, and our hotel wasn't too far from the arena and stuff. So we had a shuttle every day, and we all stayed together in groups. And so we didn't. A lot of that stuff we didn't see a lot of it. And the fans, like you already know, you're a wrestler over there. Like, you might as well be a superhero.
Celebrity.
So everybody was super cool. Yeah, super cool. It was jarring a little bit to see like myself on these billboards in like Mexico City and stuff. Like that was kind of weird. I was like, because like they all wear masks, so they can just walk around, and they're cool. But like, all of us that came from States, that's my face right there. And so it's like, is that you? And it's like,
it's kind of tight.
And then there's the language barrier, Surprisingly, a lot of people in Mexico like speak English though. It was weird.
Yes. Well, they teach it in school. They teach it in school. English is the language you learn in Mexico, just like you learn French or Spanish here. And I will say this: I grew up in the Miami area, around Liberty City and Pearl City, so I know a little something about a hood. And my partners are like, "Oh, bro, blah blah blah. You never been like Kansas City here? We got like Columbus Park. We got something. I live in KC now." And we got Columbus Park, and we got Paseo, we got Truce and Truman, and I'm like, bro, you ain't never seen a real hood, bro. You go to Mexico, bro. Like these cats are making houses out of cardboard, bro. It's serious over there.
Yeah, dude, we were going to the pyramids, man, and like we were driving on the highway, and Papa Nitro was like, hood ghetto, and it was like people like living in like shacks and huts and stuff on like this hill.
Yeah, bro.
Like it was like crazy.
Serious.
It was like a movie. I was like, what?
Yeah. No.
And so I had been to Mexico like a few times as a kid, like but we went to resorts and they were like, no, you've never been. This is Mexico. Like there's Mexico and there's like Mexico. And so like I was like, oh, okay, so I've been to Mexico now. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right, cool. I'm good.
Yes, you have. That's why you always hear me, man. No matter how
it's beautiful.
No matter how bad things get in this country, man, you're always going to hear us say it at the beginning of every show. We play that Carl Lewis drop, and we goes, man, this is the greatest country on God's green earth, man, because I'm telling you, there's some things around here that are kind of shitty. There's some things around here that are kind of shitty, bro, but it's still better than anywhere else. So I'm going to move into my last question, and then we're going to throw it over to Jonesy.
Sure.
And this is back on the Texas thing, man. It's real simple. Undertaker finally hanging up the hat, the gloves, and the boots, bro. I know that's got to hit you in a particular place. Can you talk to us about the influence and the impression that Undertaker made on you throughout these years?
The Undertaker is, man, that's a little emotional. The Undertaker, as a child, the Undertaker was scary, right? He was that as a little kid, like he scared the hell out of me. As I got older, I started to get into wrestling more as far as for the performance of it. Once I became a wrestler, and guys like James would call, that's my buddy, Mean Mark, and Akbar would talk about, Taker and stuff. And like the thing that I loved about him was like him as a performer, he got better with time. You know what I mean? Obviously, time catches up with us all, but there was like when he was doing the Taker showing up for Mania. He just got better with time, but the thing that I loved the most about The Undertaker, he's a consummate professional. From the first day to the last. consummate professional. There's none of this extra BS that, surrounded Taker. You know what I mean? He was a professional. His personal life was his personal life, but there was no locker room shenanigans. There was none of the BS. He was a consummate professional. He held everybody to that standard too. You could do all that BS, but if Taker was in the locker room, it wasn't going to be any of that. You know what I mean? He commanded respect. There was a certain standard that if you were on the show with him, in the locker room with him, you were a consummate professional too. And that stuff is so rare now. And I think he's the last of an era, man. Honestly, the best we can do is try to imitate it. You know what I mean? That's the best we can do is try to imitate it. There will never be a class of guys like that again. Where that, you know what I mean? Man, that's I respected about him the most is that I so much of us, even if it's in any other sport, you have these things where you look up to an athlete and they do something and it kind of like you kind of feel let down by your heroes. Taker was a consummate professional from his first day to his last one, and that was the thing that I took from him more than anything was this is a job. You treat it with respect, or you need to go do something else. And so I've always shown up ready to work, ready to do my job, dressed professionally, respectful to everyone, the janitor, the promoter, everybody has the same respect from me. He's one of those guys that he's been the example. Obviously my parents were a good example, but wrestling is kind of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But not with the elites. That wasn't a thing. A consummate professional. So that's the biggest thing I took away from him is his professionalism. Like, yeah, was he an athlete? Absolutely. Was he a great worker? Sure. Was he a great character? Of course. He's a consummate professional. We see good athletes all the time. We see great workers all the time. But how many of them were all of those and a consummate professional?
Very, very few. Well, with that said, Joe, I know you're very anxious to get on here with JD Griffey, man, a guy who in his own right has already made quite the impression on the professional wrestling business, and he ain't done yet. But why don't you jump in here, Joey, because I know you got some questions and some thoughts, bro.
I do. So since I was doing my research on you, and, you wrestled quite a few people, people like Mike Payne, Ricky Starks, Chandler Hopkins. But the person that caught my mind, and this is a very, very strange character, you wrestled a guy by the name of Malaco at SWE Go for the Gold in 2019. How did you prepare to wrestle a guy like Malaco?
If you've seen Malaco, he's there is no preparing for Malaco.
You ain't lying.
There isn't. I think my matches with Malaco were so good for my career because I became known as a guy who could adapt because Malaco had mind games that he got in everybody's skin. Malaco and I have wrestled 6 times and 5-1 against Malaco. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is like Malaco can get under everybody's skin, and he gets under my skin too. He's not a textbook wrestler. I can prepare for somebody countering out of a body slam or evading a punch or a strike or getting out of my rear naked choke or something like that. The way that Malaco was able to get out of certain moves and counter moves were psychological. They weren't crafty, physical. There was really no way to prepare for him. It was do everything that I do, physically to get mentally prepared, and then it was. I guess it was like, how do you prepare for Malaco? Like, watch a scary movie in VR while you're on a roller coaster, I guess. I don't know. Put yourself on the most mentally straining ordeal that you possibly can, and then try to wrestle while doing so. It's weird. Wrestling Malaco is like being in a Saw movie. You might survive it, but you're not going to be the same guy that you were when you started it. So being in there with Malaco, I was forced to grow. And as much as we are rivals, I have such a respect for him.
Wow. And Joe, let me jump in here real super duper quick.
It's crazy.
I want to jump. So I got a quick Malico story. XWE. This was early spring, right before COVID-19, or maybe it was late last year. It was Kid Reaver versus Malico in the middle of Kansas, and somewhere along this match, Sriracha became a part of the equation, and these guys were putting Sriracha all over each other's eyes. I've never seen anything like it. So when JD says you can...
That's Malico.
There you go.
That's Malico.
I just wanted to make sure I shared that story. Shout out to Kid Reaver. I love that guy.
That's Malico.
Yeah, AIWF
I
Cruiserweight
popped
champ.
his shoulders out in our last match. I dislocated both of his shoulders. I thought I was just going to pick them apart. But he just started laughing and started just swinging dead arms at me. And he hit me in the ear like a dead arm. And it does something to you mentally when you just like, okay, I disabled this guy. I'm about to pick him apart. That has worked on every, you know what I mean? Like once I disable a guy, I'm just kind of like, I'm just going to take him to deep water and just wait till he can't swim anymore. Then I drown him. And then I'm going to get a win and get my check, baby. That did not play out the way that, it's something about when you dislocate a guy's arms and then he just starts swinging them at you while he's laughing. It does something to you mentally. That I'm still not over it. I'll be honest, I'm still not over it. Yeah, he's unique. He's a unique talent, but one of the best, not in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. He's one of the best in the country. And the minute that he's in the right situation, it's going to be a done deal for that guy.
No doubt.
I could not agree more. So your wrestling style is kind of a mixture of traditional wrestling with some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and some Muay Thai. What made you want to with that type of wrestling style among all of the wrestling styles that we have?
It was something that I've always been in my whole life, and, my father always told me, if you got a weapon, use it, When I came into wrestling, I did want to be the traditional wrestler. But it was one of those things like I was running neck and neck with guys, but then I was like, well, if I use every tool at my disposal, I started seeing myself like launch ahead of people. A traditional wrestler who is 6'3", 210 pounds is dead meat against a guy like Keith Lee. But I've taken Keith Lee to his limits of many times, just because I'm precise with my strikes. Elbow to the temple, I don't care how big you are, it's gonna, you're gonna feel it some type of way. Sometimes those don't turn out well for me because Keith Lee is an anomaly as an athlete. There's nobody who's 330 pounds that should be moving like him. So I wouldn't say that I was always prepared for that particular thing. But that fighting style is, you can put me in there with anybody, and I'm gonna have the tools properly to, if I can keep a level head and assess the situation and adapt properly, I'm usually at the advantage the entire time. There's not too many matches where I'm at the disadvantage.
Okay, yeah, that is a absolutely amazing, thing that you were able to mix all that up. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about is your titles. You have won quite a few titles. But I would have to say one of the most impressive things is you are the current Texoma Pro Texas champion, and you've been that champion for 1,321 days. That is very, very, very impressive. How does it feel to be a champion for that long?
Honestly, it's I didn't even know that.
We do our homework, bro.
No, it's just one of those things I don't even, I'm not tallying that kind of stuff. I'm just like, it's just the next title defense, and then the next title defense, and then the next title defense. And my thought process is just don't lose, win this one, win this one, win this one, and then over time racks up. But, I like to think, I surround myself with talented people who are growing every day, and it requires me to grow. Guys like Chandler Hopkins, who was an amazing athlete. Matthew Palmer, amazing athlete. Training in Atlanta at the Good Brothers Dojo with Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, and Tyson Dean. Like, I'm surrounding myself with people who are just tremendous athletes. A guy like Jonathan Gresham, who is, I'm going to just say it, Jonathan Gresham is the best pure wrestler on the planet. Guys like him who, hold you accountable and keep you sharp, I just been able, Adrian Reese, Ember Moon, Mia Yim is somebody who, she's a girl, but look, she'll kick your ass, all right? She'll kick your ass. She's outdoing us in the weight room. She's outdoing us on the treadmill. She's outdoing us, like, you know what I mean? Like,
badass.
I just surround myself with just top tier athletes who I never want to be the best guy in the huddle. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm the best guy in the huddle, I find a new huddle. So I've been able to surround myself with people who are superior to me in some measurable way that requires me to grow. And then when you put me against those people, I can face those people and take them out. And if you put me against somebody that's outside of that circle, they're dead meat, man. So I've been able to be in some advantageous situations. But I will say this, it's hard to be close friends with all these people who are just like, they're like, yeah, you're successful. And then I kind of look at my stats and I go, yeah, those are nice. But then I look at my friend's stats and I go, I still got a ways to go. So, it's crazy. Shane was just saying that the other day. He's like, man, you gotta, you're doing well, man. You gotta appreciate the moments. I'm like, it's easy for you to say. You're the Ring of Honor television champion, like.
Yes.
It's for you to say, so that's just my thought process, to just keep growing. And so I've held a lot of titles, but I got so many more that I'm trying to shoot for, and I got a long way to go, man. So I appreciate the acknowledgement on past accomplishments, but I got so far to go, man. Like, I'm just kind of just like, all right, I got to get what's next. I got to defend these and win more.
Move to the next one.
Mentality every day.
Well, Jonesy, I'm going to jump in here with my last question. Those were some good ones, bro. Go ahead, close it out.
Yeah, that was my last question. I was going to throw it to you, so it's all yours.
Perfect. And we're
not teamwork makes the dream work.
Hey, no doubt. That's what we do here, man. We're just tagging in and out. Well, we're not going to have time for the shoot and shout segment because we did start a little bit late. That's on our fault.
Cool.
That's our bad, and we want to respect. We want to respect your time. But I did have one final question.
It's all good.
So back on May 27th, you posted something that was near and dear to my heart. And here's what it said. It said, I'm up jamming Nate Dogg and Warren G in my headphones reminiscing. Thanks, Night, LOL. So here's my question for you. When it comes to old school hip hop, right? What is the song that if you were stuck on a desert island that you would absolutely make sure you brought with you when we're talking about old school hip hop? You brought up Regulators. I'll give you that one. What song would you go to that desert island with, bro? That way people get to know you a little bit more on a personal level.
So it's got to be hip hop?
Well, not necessarily. Let's just call it old school. Whatever you think you would want to live on this island with.
Like, bro, I got Sinatra on my playlist right now. I got Frank Sinatra on my playlist. Like, my dad was super old school. My dad, I listened to the Isley, Sinatra. Like, I listened to the Temps. I listened to Drew Hill, 112, Tupac. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was all over the place, man. So I got one song.
One song.
Man. Oh, man, that's rough, bro. That's not a
Come on.
All right.
Come on. What do you got?
Man, I'm going to have to go. Man, it just depends on, like, when I get
stop it. Stop it. Come on. Give us something.
Oh, man. All right. Man, I'm gonna have to go with something Pac, man. Like, Pac used to give me, like...
Wonder if Heaven Got a Ghetto?
I don't know what song exactly.
Wonder if Heaven Got a Ghetto?
Man, Heaven... Man, look.
That's a good one.
That was a good one. That's a good one. But man, he was like a storyteller, man. I'm gonna go with "I Ain't Mad at You," man. That was a good one, man.
Wow. Wow, that's a great choice, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Great choice.
And respecting, you know, his friend growing as a man, you know, and not being a part of the street game, and him not making fun of him, being like, "I ain't mad at you, bro. Like, I'm glad you've grown," you know.
Love that.
It was weird, and I understood that like as a child, like listening to that song, like I understood, you know. But like again, I never grew up in like the hood. I had a pretty privileged upbringing, but I remember thinking like, you know, being a biracial kid being made fun of for things like not being hood and not being, you know, quote unquote black,
having the right
you know.
shoes.
So I remember listening to that song and being like, man, I wish I had friends like that, you know. You know, he's like, "Oh, you a Muslim? Like, you're not out here trying to get these hoes, and you know, being in the game, you're a Muslim now, and you're a family man, you're a father, you're a husband. I ain't mad at that, man. You know, like good. You know, I've always liked that song.
Yep. Used to feed for your sister, but never went up in her. All right, never mind. That's a whole nother show. I got one for you.
You already know the song.
I do, yeah, man. Hey, listen, I'm Mexican, bro, but I'm American too. And I got one recommendation for you, then we'll close it out. I got one recommendation for you because I think that there's a merge of what you like, and it exists, and you might not even know about it. So that way, when you hang up the phone and you'll be like, man, that Night Owl character and that Nightmare Jones character, I don't know about them, but man, you know what? I like the interview. I enjoyed the interview. So here's what So listen. The Notorious B.I.G. featuring Frank Sinatra. It's a whole album. It's called Blue Eyes meets Bed-Stuy. Listen to that. It's free on YouTube. All you gotta do is look for it. It's called Blue Eyes meets Bed-Stuy, and you can thank me later. How about that, JD?
That sounds fire, bro.
It is fire, bro. Trust me. Blue Eyes meets Bed-Stuy. That sounds like
flames, bro. That sounds like fire flames. I'm with it.
Go ahead. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of our first featured interview of the evening. JD, before you go, man, two quick things.
Yeah.
How can people keep up with you on social media? And number two, man, welcome in as the newest member of the Wrestle Talk Familia, bro.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on Twitter and Instagram. Just on Twitter, it's JD Griffey, at JD Griffey. On Instagram, it's at JD_Griffey. Just catch me, follow me. I keep the content heavy. It hasn't been heavy, you know, the past few weeks for obvious reasons, you know. But I try to be kind of proud of with stuff in my trainer. But yeah, man, you guys follow me on social media. Thank you guys for having me on here. Glad to be a part of the family, and let's do this again soon, man. Shout out to all my teammates. Shout out to Chayo Muay Thai Academy and Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in California. Shout out to Good Brothers Dojo. Shout out to the dojo in Denton, Texas, Ember Moon, and Matthew Palmer School. Shout out to them. And shout out to you guys for having me. Thank you so much. Shout out to Killer. Thank you for the blessings that you gave me, sir. And I won't fail you. Thank you, sir.
Mucho respeto, bro. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jonesy, say goodnight, man. We got to go to break.
Yeah, thanks, man. You have yourself a good one. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.
Indeed.
Oh, my goodness. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and go to break. And what we're going to do is we're going to play that Terry Funk again, and we're going to be back in 2 minutes and, 30 seconds, Renee?
Sounds good, and I'm telling y'all.
About right?
Yeah, you know what? I'm telling you guys, you're right. 2 minutes in about 10. Let's do 2 minutes so we can get FWWC in. We already got a couple of callers. General managers, get off your asses. Get your people on the line. We're going to give everybody 2 minutes to come in and talk their shit. But I'll tell you what, Blue Eyes meets Bed-Stuy. I'm telling you, if you guys haven't looked that up already, you're tripping. We'll see you guys in 2 minutes. See you in a few. Peace.
Yo, what up? Night Owl. Nightmare Jones. What up, Wrestle Talk fam? Do it for y'all.
Check me out. Kick in the door, wave in the 4-4. Even them haters can't hate us no more. Unlock your door, cause we got some more. Every Wednesday we here, keeping it raw. Night Owl, Nightmare Jones, and all the best guests. Like a double barrel pointed right at your chest. Wrestle, talk, podcast.com. Smashing and killing it like a night at a prom.
Yo, que pasa, chicos? We are back for hour number 2 of the Wrestle Talk podcast, and the phone lines are on fire. I got representation from Infinite. I got representation from Inferno, but I'm trying to figure out where the hell is Rise? I don't see nobody from Rise. You guys are the biggest, you're the baddest, you're ahead in the score update, but yet no callers from the Rise brand right now. And not to be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed. Well, as we wait for the Rise brand to make a little time for their sponsors, okay, we're going to go ahead and bring on a couple of other people because these people are ready and willing. So do me a favor, if you're tuning in right now, whether it be through the Facebook live feed or you're listening to the replay, somebody make some noise and remind Rise that it's Wrestle Talk Tuesday, and this is not the time to be slacking off, okay? You guys, you got to lead. I think you're getting a little arrogant, and the fact that you're not participating in tonight's show is a damning tale of when people get too big for their britches. So, we're only about 10 minutes away from Dexter Hardaway, ladies and gentlemen. Hang with us, because we've got to talk to some of the people from the world's premier fantasy wrestling promotion. That's right, folks, the FWWC. And we're going to start off with the general manager of the Inferno brand. See, this is, and you guys know I've got my bias against La Familia, I'll admit it, on a personal level, not professional. I always keep it professional. But on a personal level, La Familia is giving me more headaches than I can count. But there's one member of La Familia that always shows up and always wrecks shop. And I mean that in the best way possible. And that is the one and only singular female member of La Familia Worldwide, Hardcore Sis. Hardcore Sis, welcome to the show tonight. What is on your mind?
How you doing, Night Owl? You know, first let me say, Rise, y'all slacking on your macking, baby. Y'all need to get with it.
Wait, what did you say? What did you say? You said they were slacking on their macking? Is that what you said?
That's what I said.
Oh, I smell gunshots, baby.
Got him. Got him.
Well, shots fired. 2 seconds into your interview, mission accomplished already. What else you got for us, sis?
Well, you know, the Inferno team, we always show up, we show off, and then we get out of there. Because that's what we do. We're tough, we're hot, we bring the heat. That's what Inferno is all about. And believe me, every week on both your show and the FWWC tonight, we always make sure we have representation because we appreciate our sponsors.
Well, and we appreciate you, Hardcore Sis, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty. There's a couple of things going on, not only on Inferno, but we're also just a week away from the FWWC La Familia hosted Dark Realm Trios Tournament, and I have a sneaky suspicion that you're working behind the scenes to find yourself a couple of partners. I'm curious, are you trying to participate in the Trios Tournament? And if so, who might we expect to see by your side?
Well, you know, I'm not going to give away who I definitely...
Oh, come on! Come on!
But I will say this.
All right.
I will say this. If I can work the deal that I'm working on, you're going to see a couple of faces from the past that will be coming back by Hardcore Sis's side and winning that Trios contest. I can promise you that. But Hardcore Sis is definitely working on getting in.
Whoa, all right. Interesting. See, I knew that you had something up your sleeve. I get it if you don't want to spill all the beans right now. I get it. But we definitely are anxious to see who you team up with for the Trios Tournament qualifiers that start this upcoming Monday. Here's my second question for you, sis. Inferno. You guys are currently in possession not of one, but two of the top championships in this group, having Marcus Mayhem as the Hardcore Champion and the Bishop as the Warriors Heart Champion. Now, I know this past Friday there was a lot of things talked about and a lot of conversation about the Warriors Heart Championship, but nobody asked your opinion about how it felt to have brought over the Warriors Heart Championship. Not only have you taken it away from Infinite, but you also took it away from the SOF. I'm curious if there was ever a moment to gloat. This is it. I want to know how you feel about it, Hardcore Sis.
Well, actually, SOS does still hold it. I mean, Bishop is part of SOS. But more importantly than that, he is
Fair point.
Inferno.
Fair point. I stand corrected. I apologize. Please continue.
Oh, no problem at all. But, like you said, I did take it away from Infinite, which was the biggest thing. And who better to take it from Infinite than Bishop? And the Bishop, at the current time, is a 3-time champion. I mean, what more is there, And having two of the top titles, why? Hey, I'm just that good. And believe me, if the chance occurs, I might have all three of the top on my brand.
Whoa, take it easy. Take it easy, sis. I don't know if you know what you're asking for. That is a big load to carry. Well, all that said, we are just about 5 or 6 minutes away from our second featured guest of the evening, Dexter Hardaway. If you are a professional wrestling fan, particularly in the Midwest, oh dear God, no. Why? Oh my gosh.
Surprise!
Oh my gosh. What? Listen, sir, we have very little time between now and the time that we're supposed to bring on our second featured guest, one of the Midwest's most recognizable and respected talented workers, Dexter Hardaway. We're getting ready to board the Dex Star here in about 5 minutes, Mayhem, but you just have to make my life impossible as I make my way into the Dex Star, don't you? Why do you always have to show up here and cause mayhem?
Because that's my name, doofus. What do you think I'm here for?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, your name should be asshole.
I've been called many names. Asshole is one of my favorites.
Shocking. What do you want, Mayhem? Let's get on with it already.
Oh, of course. Well, I was calling in to see, if we're going to have any more participants in this trios match sponsored by the Wrestle Talk Podcast and La Familia's Greatest. And I see that Sis is on her way of getting a couple of people to join the losing team. So, that's good. We got a few more teams that stepped up to the plate. But there's a few people that kind of it confused me. And, maybe you might be able to speak on this, but the SOF has been kind of quiet. They're supposed to be, the biggest and baddest team to step up to La Familia, but they're nowhere to be found. What's going on with that?
Well, listen, you're asking the wrong guy. I'm not a general manager. I happen to be a member of the BOD. But where the SOF has been, I don't know. What I can tell you is that Curtis Black is back. And that Bishop is holding the Warriors Heart Championship. And as much as I hate to admit it, you are now the hardcore champion. So I know that has nothing to do with the SOF, but there's been a lot of changes here lately, and I'm surprised you don't want to talk about any of those things, ma'am, because you were also in the Warriors Heart Championship match, And I know you don't like to talk about it, but you came up a little bit short. So with the little bit of time we have left, what explanation, or I should say excuse, do you have for that?
Oh, I don't have any excuses. And yeah, I came up short, but, you know, I give Bishop all the credit in the world. He is someone who is very respected, and he brought it back to the best brand, Inferno brand. And in regards to Curtis Black making his return, it's good because, let's face it, Rise needed the brains back, and here he is, Curtis Black. But I wonder, with SummerSlam coming up, Curtis Black coming up, we do have a storied past as being former general managers and all the heat we've got between each other. You know, it wouldn't be so surprising if Curtis Black decided to, let's say, come for my hardcore championship.
Very interesting. We all know he's got a special place in his heart for that championship, so I wouldn't be surprised, Mayhem. I got to give you that one.
You know, if you're listening, Curtis Black, I'm open to all challengers from all brands at SummerSlam, and I wouldn't expect nothing less from Mr. Curtis Black. And maybe he might bring along Guy with him, because let's not forget, Mayhem has a friend of his own.
And that's where we'll leave it, ladies and gentlemen. To everybody else on hold for the FWWC segment, KOB, I know that I promised to get you on, bro. I apologize. Time has gotten the better of us, but there is always this upcoming Friday where we'll be having the Pick'em, the FWWC Tonight, hosted by Money Man Mills. Make sure you guys check that out over at WrestleTalkPodcast.com. And Voorhees, I done told you about calling the last 3 minutes of the FWWC segment. If you keep calling in late, you're not going to get on. It's that simple. Even Nightmare Jones is waiting patiently, and he's not going to get a chance. So if you want to get on, call in early. And I'll just leave it at that. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the conclusion of the FWWC segment. Let me summarize it for you guys here in about 10 seconds. There are many people who wish they could be like J.D. Griffey. Many people wish they could be like Dexter Hardaway and be able to go into the ring and live out their dreams of being professional wrestlers. But we know life is just not fair. Whether it be for physical reasons, emotional, or circumstantial, some people who want to be in the professional wrestling business can't. So what do you go to? You go to being a fan, like the rest of us. But there's a happy medium, and that happy medium is the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter. I know you've all heard of E-Feds, and it's a little corny, but listen, you've never seen how the Night Owl does fantasy wrestling. Go over to WrestleTalkPodcast.com, slide over to the end where that fantasy wrestling tab is, and learn a little bit about us, because we compete for real championships. Yeah, I'm talking about the heavy ones that people ask you about when you wear them to independent shows. We cut fire-ass promos, and by the way, there is no rating on our promos, so we talk shit. And you know what? We're pretty damn good at it. And last but not least, when it comes to get-togethers for professional wrestling fans, outside of WrestleMania, there's no better place to enjoy a professional wrestling watch party than with the Wrestle Talk podcast and the FWWC. That's how simple I'm going to make it. And you guys heard a little bit earlier, there's a good chance that we're going to be doing our watch party once again this year at Esports Bar KC. That's all I got to say about all that. But if you got promos and you know how to compete by making picks on Raw, SmackDown, AEW, NXT, and pay-per-views, make sure you hit us up and we'll fill you out with all the details so you can start your career in the FWWC. All that said, I'm going to bring in my partner in crime once again, because our second featured guest of the evening is in the batter's box and ready to hit a home run. Enter Timmy. I'm going to do a fire introduction, I promise you. But you got to do me a favor and hit my man Dexter Hardaway's music right effing now. Turn it up, Timmy. Dexter, welcome to the show, man. Episode 304 of the Wrestle Talk podcast, man. It's both an honor and a pleasure to have you, man. How are you doing tonight?
For being honest, it's kind of a somber day right now. We heard with the passing of wrestling legend Killer Tim Brooks. It's kind of a weird day. But other than that, I'm doing okay. I'm happy and I'm healthy.
Man, well, that's both sad and great to hear. I guess it would only be appropriate if I kind of shared with you, kind of caught you up to speed a little bit of what we've done during tonight's show. We're trying to stay upbeat ourselves, but we did start off the show today honoring the late great Tim Brooks, Killer Tim Brooks, with a 10-bell salute. And what was real crazy, it was kind of almost unplanned, Dex. We had JD Griffin on the show, JD Griffey on the show just about an hour ago, and he is also a former student, disciple, fan, and friend of the late great. So the fact that we're having you on the show as well, that you have that connection with him is kind of almost unprecedented. So I guess it would be unfair if we didn't start there, bro. Can you please share with us how you're feeling the best that you can and some of your experiences being trained by this legend?
Unlike most, I didn't have the opportunity to be trained by him. I've been on many shows with him. I've had many interactions with him. He's a great human being. I was a ruffian as a young kid, so maybe it wasn't good that I met him as I was younger, because I like to buck authority a little bit.
All right, fair.
The times that I was around him, he was just so down to earth, and he was very nice and respectful, and would give you any type of feedback you were looking for, good, bad, and different. He was wrestling wise inside the ring, man. Watching him as a kid, he was a scary individual at times. So, prayers go out to his family and close friends, and our thoughts and prayers are with him.
Well, you know what, Dex? I do want to say this, like I went through your, doing our research or whatever, we go through our time, like I saw how you spoke of him, and I made the assumption that he had worked with you or trained with you, and so I apologize for putting that out there, not 100% accurately, but it sounds like you definitely have a reverence, which I think is great, because we got a lot of old school guys on this show. We've had the opportunity to talk to countless legends. And a lot of these OGs, bro, they feel like they just aren't appreciated. If the guys would just stop and listen. But it sounds like you are one of those guys, and I think that's why you've had so much success in your career. Is that accurate? Am I depicting that accurately? Like, you value the teachings of the old school and you take it to heart, because it sounds like that's the case with Tim Brooks.
Absolutely, man. If there's one thing that I've learned over the years, man, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And the wrestling business is absolutely not broken. It's going through a dark period right now, yes, but as far as being, the core of pro wrestling is storytelling. And, the moves don't matter. The moves do not matter one bit. The core values of pro wrestling is storytelling, and that's what I enjoy, and that's what I took from guys like Killer Tim Brooks and Harley Race, and Texas-led Bullman Downs, and the list goes on and on. That's what I took from them, man, is to be able to tell a good story and engage the crowd.
Oh, dude, you know what? I love to hear you say that, because I feel like there is some truth to what the OGs say when they come on here, and we talk to guys like Tracy Smothers and many other just amazing contributors to the sport. And that is their sentiment, man, and we hope that it doesn't get lost on so many people, because, the legends of yesteryear, we were talking to JD earlier, Dex, and we were talking about Undertaker and his influence, and that there is so much old school, savvy intelligence that comes with a guy like that, being in the business for 30 years. So I guess it would only be right if I pose that same question to you. We obviously saw him hang up the hat, the gloves, and the boots. What sort of influence did The Undertaker have on your pro wrestling career?
Oh man, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that as a child I was scared to death of it. What was it, 1990 or 91? His debut, man, was just, and we were in awe of it. Me and some friends that were big time wrestling marks, man. We just, we'd seen nothing like that before. So if anything, it taught me to dare to be different. Try something. If it doesn't work, try something else. Something's going to work if you put your heart and soul into it. And it also taught me to live the gimmick. As he mentions many times in the documentary on the network there, he lived his gimmick. And I believe that if we saw any of Mark Calloway rather than the Undertaker character anytime other than now in the present time, it would have ruined it for all of us. It would have ruined the mystique for everyone. So I'm really glad they held off and waited till the very end of his career to do something like that.
Man, I couldn't agree more. I know we were all scared of Undertaker as kids, and you know what? Sometimes they do some of this stuff just a little bit too soon. And I'm just looking at my notes here, and I know that in your past you have a history of being a former football player, and I'm thinking about hearing about this documentary that they're doing on Tom Brady and his career, and I'm like, bro, he's not even done yet. Why would you do a documentary on a guy that's still going to play for 3-4 years? I mean, like Undertaker, I think, played this probably better than anybody. So we got to tip our cap to the dude. Just not only for what he's done, but for how he's closing out his career. I think just probably the most undisputed, respected superstar of all time. And to hear somebody who's active in the game like you have that much respect for him only validates the way that I feel. So I think that's pretty dope.
And as far as the Tom Brady thing goes, man, I think a lot of people will feel the same way, that they want him to retire. They're ready for him to retire. He's been in the spotlight for so many years, and he's been on top. He hasn't just been, with a good team. He's been on top for, almost 2 decades now. So, a lot of people, maybe it's kind of a push. Hey, Tom, take the hit. But, you're going to retire just like me, man. You're going to go whenever you're ready, whenever your body tells you so, and not a minute sooner.
Yeah, no, you got to respect it. You got to be a good listener to know when your body's telling you that time is up. I guess it would be a little disrespectful, seeing as I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, if I didn't elaborate on the football thing a little bit more. For one, I'm petitioning that the NFL not come back and that we just go down in history as the last champions ever. I'm okay with that, but my buddy Nightmare Jones, who happens to be a Raider fan, doesn't like that idea. What do you think about it, Dex?
Man, I'm a Detroit fan, so to be honest with you, I'm okay with the way you feel about it, but I would like a chance to at least, have a winning season again. So,
dude, it's been a while. It absolutely has been a
while.
Dude, it has been a while.
As long as it has for the Raiders.
Oh, geez. 2 long-suffering fans. You all right, Joey? You crying over there or what?
I'm good.
Oh, dude, that's badass. All right, well, I'm going to stay on that topic and then move to some Midwest wrestling stuff because I got a couple of questions for you there. But, bro, so you played DB, right, back in the day. How do you feel like that football background? Because we hear a lot of guys from the basketball kind of background make their way into pro wrestling, the weightlifting background, the MMA background, but not all the time about football players. So you use that attribute as a football player to work your way into, and I know people can bring up Stone Cold and a few others, Brock Lesnar or whatever, but for the most part, football players in the transition to wrestling is not something you see all the time. How do you feel like that experience in football has helped you in pro wrestling?
Man, if anything, it taught me, you're going to get beat up by coaches. You're going to get broken down. You don't quit. That's one thing sports as a young kid taught me, because I started training to be a professional wrestler in very early of 1996. I had my first match in March of 96. So it was like rough, maybe like 8 weeks of training. And frustrating at times, very frustrating. But once I started to pick up on things, football and hard-nosed coaches and everything like that, and going through that, it helped me to be able to not give up. to push through, push my limits. Things that I couldn't do, I would try to do. So football and athletics in general, man. And I would say golf. I played a little golf in high school too. Compared to the guys that I was around, my teammates, I was nowhere near good. But golf also taught me to relax and calm down and, find your zen and your happy place. And, same place with wrestling, man. Relax, calm down, have fun, and just wrestle. So.
Wait, Joey, did I just hear a Happy Gilmore reference, like a real low-key Happy Gilmore reference? Am I...
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Find your happy place, man. That's awesome, dude. A big Adam.
Are you gonna hop up somewhere randomly during my matches and go, "You're gonna miss"? You're gonna miss.
You want to go to the Sizzler, Dexter? You want to go to the Sizzler?
I'm down for it. Let's do it,
dude. You know what? That's so funny that you say that because I've been trying to get over to Metroplex. I've been trying to get over with my buddy Jerry Bostic, a former guest of the show, a member of the Wrestle Talk family, over to the Kansas. I'm trying to. I know he's got a few of them.
KWR.
Yeah, KWR, man, in Western Kansas, bro. Jerry's such a great dude. We love him to death. I would love to come to one of the shows and do that for you. Can you talk to us a little bit about your time here in the Midwest and some of the different promotions you've been able to work for? Some highlights, maybe even some lowlights.
Man, really back in the day, it started, like I told you, I had my first match in 1996. Probably around early 1997, I started traveling with some other wrestlers, some veterans around the area. And one of the places that I started going to is Wichita, Kansas. Used to go down there every Wednesday. I cannot remember for the love of God what the name of the studio was. It was in downtown Wichita. We taped for television there with a gentleman by the name of Dan Adams. Who is still involved, I believe, somewhere up there in Kansas with someone. And so that's kind of where, my start up there got. And like I said, I did that every year for every Wednesday for like a year. And it was crazy being 17 years old, driving by myself 2.5, 3 hours every Wednesday. And it was a great learning experience. There were several veterans around there that I got to learn from. I also met guys like Tiger Stretch Phillips Jr., who was a trainer of mine, a father figure in my life. He is the nephew of Sputnik Monroe, who's another old school professional wrestler. And I got to travel. I got to travel and do some shows up in Missouri and Arkansas. I got connected at that point. Met Harley Race for the first time in like 1998 at a Random House show. That he was booked at. And that's kind of how, I haven't been back up to the Midwest too much, but I'm looking to change that here, I call it the Dex Express. I don't know how long I've got left to do this, but I'm going to enjoy the ride, and I'm going to try to get out there to as many independent companies as I can. That'll have me at least. That's
right, man. The Dex Express, or you can hop aboard the Dex Star, which I freaking love that, dude. I thought it was so great. When I was looking through your profile, I was like, dude, this dude knows how to get over with the fans, man. And it's obviously working, and it's going to continue to work with this attitude that you have towards the sport.
And now, let me correct you there.
What?
You say that how to get over with the fans, man. And to be honest with you, in the ring, yes, I'll give you that. I know what I'm doing. I will not. I have the confidence in myself, 100% in the ring. Now, outside of the ring, it's different these days, man. It's all about social media and how you present yourself. And that's about 75% of the business now, and that's the tough part. But I learned all that and how to promote myself by watching those that knew what they were doing, as well as watching those that were terrible at it to learn what not to do. So I've got to give the credit to someone other than myself.
No, that's bad as hell. And you know what? There are so many guys that are still kind of fighting the wave. You know what I mean? I'm sure you know a couple of them. Like, I'm not messing around with that. You know what I mean? But, like, it's all about, like, recognizability, right? Like, if someone recognizes you, whether you're a ring announcer or a referee, like, that helps, right? So the fact that you've been willing to adapt,
right.
so
Yeah.
I'll put praise back in your lap by your willingness to do it, because some people just won't do it.
And I learned, man, when I first started this thing, you know, I got, after a long hiatus from pro wrestling, I got back into it after my divorce in June of 2018. And I took really about a year, man, from like June of 18 to June 19, and just kind of studied what everybody did, how the wrestling business has changed. And that's one thing that I picked up, man. I learned how to work the social media game. And when I started, I was getting a couple of hundred views per video, man. And then I gave myself a goal to get 500 views. And now that I started doing that consistently, I'm disappointed if I don't get 500 views. You know, so I constantly keep setting a goal, and so far I keep breaking that. So I'm happy where I'm at.
Dude, that's the shit. And your hard work is definitely paying off, man. No doubt about it. And you made time for us. So we obviously are grateful to you for that. Jonesy, I know you got a couple of questions and thoughts, man. I've been a little selfish up to this point. Why don't you jump in?
I do. I do have a couple of questions. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, you were involved in a stable called Villain with Alex Royal, Paul Puerto Rico, Ray Martinez, Reed, Skylar Faden. What exactly was Villain?
Villains, to say it in a nice way, were a group of thugs that decided they did not care about Wrestling for a Cause, which is a company here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They didn't care what it stood for anymore, and they were going to change things, and they created the Villains, and they bucked the system, so to speak. And I thought I was in that group momentarily, but I believe it was like October of last year. They put a beat down on me, and I guess that answered my question. Let me know where I stood.
Oh wow! Okay, I did not know that. Wow. So
the Villains are always lurking, so never, ever, ever think that they have disbanded. They're always going to be around.
That's badass.
Exactly. So as I was going through some of the information, I see that some of your signature moves, you've got the Money Mauler, the Dexter Hardaway, but the move that interested me was the Bruce Almighty Driver. What exactly is the Bruce Almighty Driver? And how did
if I can give you a visual, it is actually called a Kryptonite Crunch, which is the same move. It's a variation of the same move that Fit Finlay used to do to finish his opponents in the WWE. You know, when he was with Hornswoggle, he used to hook their body over his back, grab their head and their leg, and drive them to the mat.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a move that I don't want any part of whatsoever.
It's painful. I've been on the receiving end of it. It's painful.
It sounds like it's painful. So you are also the current ASP 5-star champion. You've been the champion for 164 days. What does it feel like to be the ASP 5-star champion?
And you know, that's actually only the second title I've held in the last 2 years since I've been back. The first one was a heavyweight championship for Mid-South Wrestling in Oklahoma City. I held that for about a week before I was defeated for it. Wah, wah, wah.
Wow.
But I won the 5-star championship. And you said it'd been 160-some-odd days, man, and I really take pride in that. I'm one of the faces of the company, so I'm always going to be on the poster. You know, I try to represent that, you know, belt with pride and carry it, take it out whenever I can, and just let people know, you know, all about All-Star Pro. They're out of Bethany, Oklahoma, And the next show is July 12th, Sunday, July 12th. I believe it starts at 3:30. Plug.
Awesome. That is awesome. That that you are so happy for your titles. And the last question before I throw it back to Renee is, as I was looking through your matches, I saw that you were in a six-man tag where Adam Ashler, Chandler Hopkins, and Mr. Robble went against yourself, Michael Schaefer, and one of Renee's best friends, one and only Niles Plonke. Can you tell us about that six-man match?
Well, I'm glad you pronounced it right because most people call him Plonky.
Plonky?
I don't like that.
I'm sure he doesn't like that.
No, he doesn't. Niles has always been a air quotes a bandmate of mine, a guy that I've always run up and down the road with. So we always get along. And currently, right now, we are in a stable at SWE Fury TV, and we are a part of the Rabid Empire.
Yes, Nigel Rabid. We love Nigel.
Yes, sir. Nigel treats me very well. He pays me very well. Every time I win a match, he pays me an ice cream on top of what my wrestling payday for that night would be. So I enjoy Nigel. I enjoy the business relationship that we have. And SWE Fury, back to the plugs, they have a television taping in Plano, Texas. 2 of them. This Friday at 3 p.m., maybe 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. In Plano, Texas. So check that out. All that info, I promo all the shows that I'm on, so you can find out any info on things that I'm talking about on my page, on my Facebook page.
Awesome.
Nice.
One thing about Nigel Rabid is Nigel Rabid always comes on to the podcast, and every time he comes on, Renee is always so happy when he comes on, aren't you, Nigel?
Well, wait a minute. Let's set the record straight. Last time he came on, you tried kissing his ass, and he put you in your place, Nightmare Jones. So let's not do this revisionist history, because we know who's really Nigel Rabid's favorite, air quotes. Okay? So don't even start with me, Nightmare.
Yeah, Nigel Rabid can sniff out a butt kisser from a mile away, man.
Told you. Got him, Joe.
If I'm not mistaken, the last time that Nigel Rabid came onto the show, he kicked you off of the show, and it became the Nigel Rabid show. And so...
Fucking bullshit!
Anyway,
That's how I feel about that.
I'm dying over here.
My last question, and then I'm going to throw it back to Renee, because I know he has a bunch of questions, is you were trained by a lady by the name of Jessie Jones. And can you tell us a little bit about being trained by Jessie?
By who?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm wrong. I'm just going
You
back
might be mistaken.
We are really
I must be
screwing the pooch on this one, Jonesy.
I will cover that real quick. My initial training started in Tulsa, Oklahoma with a local company. I learned the basics there. I had my first match. Like I said, I started traveling. I got hooked up with Tiger Stretch Phillips Jr. I got a bunch of training from him as we were on the road, in the car, in the ring, you name it, in the hotel. It was an education. Then I got hooked up with King Mabel. Some people will remember in the WWE.
Viscera. Yes. Big Daddy V.
Same thing, man. I learned from Big Daddy V in the ring, in the hotel, in the car, you name it, man. It was a total education there. And then in 2001, I got the opportunity to be in the advanced class for about 6 months up at the Harley Race Wrestling Academy in Eldon, Missouri. And that was...
shout out to Leland Race, real quick, Dex. Shout out to Leland Race.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ref Marty.
Yeah.
We love you guys. Shout out to Derek Stone, to John, to everybody over there. Much love to WLW from Wrestle Talk, man. We love those guys over there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I go way back with Derek too, man. He's an old cat. And you know, that around 2001 there, that was the time that Harley would still be in on the advanced classes. He just wouldn't get up in the ring. So he would stop you, he would pull you out of the ring, show you any techniques that he needed to or correct anything. And then you'd get back in the ring and do it. So it was very, when people say they were trained at the Harley Race Wrestling Academy, some people trained at the Harley Race Wrestling Academy, but not very many people were actually, got the training from Harley himself. So I consider that, to be like something special.
Feather in the cap, baby. That's a good feather in your cap. That's a great one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Joe?
So that is my history on being trained. And, things don't usually start clicking to about 7 or 8 years, in. And that was about my time up at Harley's. I came from that. I came away from that with a lot of confidence.
Sick.
All right. Well, not everything on the internet is true, Renee. I've always said that.
No, it's not.
No, wait a minute.
Internet.
No, but listen.
Not everything on the internet is true.
Dexter, you're not leaving here without, because we both now had embarrassing moments. Now it's your turn, okay? Because that's just the way it's got to be. Everybody's got to get their shine in on this match. So here's the question, and I'll let you expand upon it how you please, okay? So in doing our research, back on June 14th, 2011, you made an appearance on network television. And some people may or may not recognize you from that situation. I got to ask you, I don't want to ask anything about the personal stuff. That's your business, not mine. But what was that experience like? And people are like, what are you talking about, Night Owl? What experience? My man, Dexter Hardaway, is one of the very fortunate people in American history to have appeared on one of the most successful shows in American history, the Jerry Springer Show. Dexter, come on, bro. I'm ready to jump on the Dexter for you to take me on this adventure, this story. Please tell us about how you ended up on the freaking Jerry Springer Show. I gotta hear this.
Man, that was a hell of an introduction. I don't know if my story's going to live up to the introduction. It's very simple, man. A friend of mine, that I grew up with, we were big wrestling fans. We were also big-time Jerry Springer fans as kids.
Who was it?
Man. And that back when we were growing up, Jerry Springer, they did a lot of fights on there that was really physical. Nowadays, not so much. They may have gotten back to it, but about 10 years ago, they tried to stay away from so much of the fist fighting and stuff.
Right.
Anyway, but we always wanted to go on that show for something. We'd always try to create an idea or something. Anyway, one day, I had been married for a couple of years, and me and my wife had the strangest conversation where she used to be a professional wrestler too. And she explained to me that she was on the Jerry Springer Show. I want to say back in 2002, 2003. She was on there with two other cats that may be familiar to you. Bobby and Chris, Little Cato and Beautiful Bobby Dean. They are from the St. Joseph, Missouri area.
Oh my gosh, bro. St. Joe. Hey, St. Joe is 40 minutes north of me. Literally, it's right up the road.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Those are the kids. Those two that she was on the show with are the kids of Lord Littlebrook. He used to book all the midgets for the territories back in the day. And that was his kids. They used to work the territory back in, late 90s, early 2000s. Them and several other of the midgets, came out of St. Joseph, Missouri. Anyway, I digress.
That's crazy, though.
So I just decided, since my wife had been on the show already, maybe I've got a chance. So I called one morning. I talked to a producer. And called back later that evening, wanted our story. And, at the time, me and my wife were having issues, admittedly so we had a story to give them. And I had cheated on my wife. I was remorseful, I was forgiven and everything like that. And I happened to do that with a good friend of mine, his mother.
Oh my God.
And actually the good friend of mine now is also a professional wrestler. He goes by the name of Wesley Crane. So I was on the show Mad Mom Meltdown was the episode name. I was on there with Wesley Crane's mother. And if you're not familiar with Wesley Crane, go check him out on Facebook, Twitter, and Insta. He's a crazy character in and of himself. So, bro, here's the crazy thing. I was ready to go, man. I was ready to call my buddy and say, hey, we're finally going on this thing. And I get the tickets, the electronic tickets in the email, and we're going to Connecticut. They had moved the show the year before up to Connecticut. And now I'm disappointed because I'm not going to Chicago. So they actually moved it up there the year before to take Deal or No Deal at the time, Maury Povich, Jerry Springer, and then Steve Wilkos was also doing his own show there.
Steve Wilkos show.
And they all taped there in the same building. It was about a mile down the road from the WWE headquarters, as a matter of fact. Anyway, we get there, man. We fly to Connecticut. They put us up in hotel room. They take great care of us. We get to go on worldwide television and tell our story and stay in Connecticut for the weekend. And man, it was great. We had a limo waiting for us to take us back to the airport Monday morning. They bought us breakfast. Nothing but professionals up there, and kudos to Jerry Springer for having our crazy story on their program. That's it, man. That's it in a nutshell.
That's crazy. And you know what? I am getting notes from intern Timmy about this whole Jesse situation, Nightmare Jones. Do you want to clear that up for us real quick? Because I think it was a little backwards. Go ahead, Joe. I want to give you a chance to redeem yourself. Great story, by the way, Dexter. That was awesome.
I did look it up, and from what I can see, now this might be wrong because it is on the internet, Jessie did not train you. She was trained by you. That's
Jessie Jersey, perhaps, was the name. That's the name I remember. Jessie Jersey.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know where she's at today, so I don't know if my training for her paid off.
Did it pay off or not?
I don't know. I can't answer that.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. All right, Joe. Well, look, good try, bro. It's all good. No worries. Well, listen. Now,
right?
No. I'll tell you what. This almost sets the background or the backdrop perfectly, because with the couple of minutes we have left, we want to go ahead and have you join us. Shout out to Derek Stone, by the way, who's tuning into the broadcast. I know we were talking about him a little bit earlier, Dexter. Much respect, OG, keeping the tradition alive, man. We mentioned you a little bit earlier, Derek, so it's great to see you on the broadcast. But anyway, what we're going to do, guys...
What's up, Derek? I love you, my friends.
There you go. Dexter Hardaway showing his affection for the legendary Derek Stone, man. I know legendary gets thrown around a lot, but if you're in the Midwest, you know exactly what I mean when I say legendary Derek Stone. I mean, the guy deserves it. No question.
Right.
No question. All right, so here's what we're going to do, guys. Since this has already been a cluster muck, we're going to go ahead and capitalize on it during tonight's edition of the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. And Dexter, one thing I know about you, or at least I should say I've learned about you in talking to you these last 30, 35 minutes, is that you got a lot of passion, and you might have a little bit of competitive bone in your body, especially by, your profession, your chosen profession. As a professional wrestler, competing is got to be in your nature. It's got to be in your blood. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you face off against Nightmare Jones in a best 2 out of 3 falls trivia challenge tonight. The question is, are you game? And Nightmare Jones, are you ready?
I am. I hope I don't stink up the joint.
Jonesy?
Oh, I'm always ready.
All right.
Good answer.
Let's go. Hey, for all the awesome folks. That's good to hear, Joe. To all the awesome people that are tuning in right now to the Wrestle Talk Podcast, episode 304, we love you. And we're going to ask intern Timmy to go ahead and hit that Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show theme song so we can kick this thing off. welcome to this week's installment of the world-famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Tonight's contest is scheduled for a best 2 out of 3 falls. Our contestants are Dexter Hardaway and Wrestle Talk Podcast's very own Nightmare Jones. In a few moments, I will ask 3 questions about a particular professional wrestling topic. Whenever you think you know the answer, shout it out. The first person to score 2 falls out of 3 will win tonight's challenge. Do you gentlemen understand the rules?
Absolutely, and I love the pyramid theme show.
You recognize the music. Oh my God, $100,000 Pyramid was my favorite game show growing up.
$25,000 Pyramid, baby.
Dude, it was the best. It really was the best. That one and the one with no whammies. No whammies, no whammies. I forgot what that was called. That was a good show, too.
That was Press Your Luck.
Press Your Luck, yes. I love Press Your Luck. That was good, too. Supermarket Sweep, also. That was a good one. All right, now let's go. Let's go ahead and get on with it, guys. We can do this all day. All right, anyway, we old. All right, here we go. So, in honor of tonight's guest, the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge is entitled Oklahoma. Hold on. We will not be talking about professional wrestling musicals. We will be talking about professional wrestling personalities from the state of Oklahoma. I will give you information about 3 famous professional wrestling personalities from the state of Oklahoma. When you think you know who I am talking about, please shout out your answer. The first person, again, to score 2 out of 3 falls will win tonight's contest. Do you gentlemen understand?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to give you clues. As soon as you know the answer, and both of you guys are super loud, so just shout it out. Question number 1. WCW showcased this professional wrestler in various ways. From his college football to his...
Eric Watts.
That is incorrect. You can continue to guess as soon as you think you know the answer. But to his undefeated streak. To being the first undefeated... Goldberg is correct. Nightmare Jones, you have just scored a point.
Why would I think it's Eric Watts? Who on this broadcast knows who Eric Watts is? I know who Eric Watts is.
I will be Googling who Eric Watts is shortly. Okay, question number 2. This professional wrestler was born in Perry, Oklahoma.
Danny Hodge.
Say that again?
Danny Hodge.
That is incorrect. You can continue to guess.
It's the other one.
All right, let me continue. He has gone on to be a collegiate All-American, an ECW World Champion, and a WWE World Champion. And also has competed for Lucha Underground. Presently, you can find this man as the enforcer of the Inner Circle faction in AEW and in Bellator. Please name him.
Do I still get to answer?
Yes, shout it out. Jack Swagger is correct. Jack Swagger is correct.
Jack Hager, I believe is his
Jack Hager. That either answer counts. Either answer counts. Currently, the score is tied 1-1. This will determine our winner. Question number 3. Many professional wrestling fans remember the fabulous Freebirds. Even though all... Did I just hear someone? No. Okay. Even though all 3 original Freebirds lived on Bad Street in USA in Atlanta, Georgia, Michael Hayes was born in Washington, D.C. Terry Gordy was born in Tennessee. This third member of the original Freebirds was born in the state of Oklahoma. Please name him.
Buddy Roberts.
Buddy Roberts is correct. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner. Intern Timmy, you know what to do. Get that music ready, Actually, let's hit this man's theme. How about we do the right thing? Hit this man's theme. Tonight's winner, episode 304 Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. The commander of the Dexter Amigos, Dexter Hardaway. Hit the music, Timmy. Well done, well done. Well done.
I'm running around my backyard right now with my hands held high in the air and screaming to the top of my lungs, I'm the champion!
You killed that shit, Dex, bro. That was dope.
The cops on me here in a few minutes.
You killed it. You killed it. Wow. I have to say, the topic may be a little bit biased, but Joe, you did a great job, bro. I got to give you credit. Oh, man, my man says a little salty right now, bro. A little salty.
Never drew a dime. Not a dime. Not a dime.
All right. Well, guys, we've had a lot of fun tonight. Dexter, obviously, man, you're going to go down as one of our favorite guests ever. So before you go, do us a favor. Go ahead and tell people how they can follow you on social media, and allow me and Joe to welcome you in as the newest member of the Wrestle Talk family, bro. Go ahead.
I appreciate that. Unlike a lot of people, I have a Twitter. I just don't get on it. You can go on there and see nothing at Dexter Hardaway. My Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube are all active. I post on there daily, weekly. And you can go find all of that under Dexter or Dexter Hardaway. Very easy to find. And might I add, perhaps you could find some bumper music, man, from Denny Crane. You remember William Shatner's character on Boston Legal? Perhaps you can find some one-liners to slip in there that would work for you.
Just send me a link, bro. I'm good with it.
I've had fun doing this. Thank you.
Dude, and we enjoyed the hell out of it, man. We like to highlight guys that are doing great work in the business, man. And honestly, I'm anxious to see you getting back to doing your thing, man. F this damn coronavirus. Let us go back to doing what we do. Right. And let's get back to wrestling. Right, Joey?
Absolutely. I'm ready.
Safety and health first, but yes, we're ready to get back to wrestling every weekend. Absolutely.
No doubt. Well, ladies and germs, that brings us to the conclusion of episode 304 of the Wrestle Talk podcast. Nothing but illustrious guests here on the show. And of course, we can't lose sight of what's really important as we celebrate the birthday of the legendary hardcore badass Terry Funk and the passing of a true legend. Tom, Killer, you've heard our voices today, and we paid homage to your legacy. Tom has done so many things for the business, and hopefully his legacy will remain alive forever. Killer, we see you on the other side, bro. That's the end of episode 304, guys. We love you. Dexter, have a great 4th of July weekend, and that goes for every single last member of the Wrestle Talk family. Intern Timmy, you know what to do. Hit that music. We'll catch you guys next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We are out. Peace.
Muted.